It's no secret that the orthodontic marketplace is rapidly changing. If you haven't heard our last podcast with Chris Benson, I suggest you listen to that one. But from our perspective, the progression to a digital office is inevitable. Every new patient will start with a scan and it'll either be aligners or braces. Today, we focus on the leading brand for digital custom braces, LightForce. Stay tuned. Our Golden Age of Orthodontics podcast sponsors make it possible for us to bring you new episodes. Dental monitoring is making orthodontic treatment smarter. DM Insights provides clear analytics on clinical operations and practice workflow. You can measure and enhance the effectiveness of your protocols, all while creating a new standard in patient experience and practice efficiency. LightForce Orthodontics is revolutionizing orthodontic care with cutting-edge custom bracket technology that offers personalized digital treatment plans that are fast, precise, and uniquely tailored to your patient's needs. Take advantage of the new standard of care with 3D printed, fully customized brackets combined with indirect bonding and digital planning. You can learn a lot more and take advantage of some special offers by visiting our partner page at pplpractice.com.
The future of orthodontics is evolving and changing every day. But although the way to achieve practice growth has changed, there's never been a better time to be an orthodontist. Let's get into the minds of industry leaders, forward-thinking orthodontists, and technology insiders to learn how they see the future of the orthodontic specialty. How will digital orthodontics, artificial intelligence, clear aligner therapy, remote monitoring, in-house printing, and other innovations change the way you practice? Join your hosts Dr. Leon Klempner and Amy Epstein each month as they bring you insights, tips, and guest interviews focused on helping you capitalize on the opportunities for practice growth. And now, welcome to the Golden Age of Orthodontics with the co-founders of People and Practice, Dr. Leon Klempner and Amy Epstein.
Welcome to the Golden Age of Orthodontics. I'm Leon Klempner, retired board-certified orthodontist, director of orthodontics at Mount Sinai Hospital, part-time faculty at Harvard, CEO of People in Practice, father of 3 daughters, 2 granddaughters, 2 grandchildren, husband to my high school sweetheart. It'll be 50 years this August. I better remember that. And I'm joined by one of my daughters, the one and only Amy Epstein.
It's very difficult to follow that, just so you know. It makes it very hard. It is a big year, though. I'll make a correction. 4 grandchildren, 2 girls, 2 boys, but 50 years with my mom in August. And one of my sisters is getting married this year. The other one just had her second baby. So this is a good year, a lot going on. And we just got back from the AAO, which was a really enlightening, informative, and energizing meeting. I'll just go back. I'm Amy Epstein. I gave a little talk at the AAO. I was excited about that. We talked a little about LightForce during that session, but I have 20 years of marketing and public relations experience, both inside orthodontics and outside of orthodontics. And my dad and I co-founded People in Practice about almost 15 years ago at this point, trying to bring the tried and true tenets of marketing that global brands use to the industry of orthodontics so that orthodontists can market their practice with the most effective tools possible. And we started this podcast, I don't know, already a while back. I think this is the 50-something episode, to bring the most forward-thinking thought leaders in the orthodontic industry and elevate their voices so that orthodontists, whether or not you attended the AAO or you didn't, or you couldn't make it, or you going to other conferences, so that you can hear what the most innovative companies and the leaders of those companies are envisioning for the future of orthodontics. So all that to say, today I'm thrilled to have Kelly Riedel on the show. She's the COO of LightForce, which, as my dad mentioned, they're a provider of the world's first and only fully customized 3D printed orthodontic system. And Kelly's really interesting. We had a little chance to chat before the show, but prior to joining LightForce, she was director of global robotics operations for Amazon. delivering all robotics technology into Amazon buildings worldwide, managing operations across 5 different product design centers, coordinated with 100 or more suppliers across 4 continents, and even launched Amazon's Innovation Hub. Kelly is actually an attorney by trade. She previously led the legal team for Amazon Robotics. She has a BA from Middlebury College, a JD from Berkeley Law School, and was also a member of the 2016 Harvard Business School Women's Leadership Forum. And what I heard is that she has a print above her desk that reads, "Here's to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them." And she's still striving to do all 3, which I am also striving to do. And I'm sure my dad did as well. I have 2 girls. My dad had 3. Kelly, thanks so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Amy, thank you so much. And thank you for that lovely introduction. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely.
So, Kelly, you had me in your introduction, obviously. But, when I look at your resume, you've had quite an interesting journey. And, starting with being an attorney and then your time at Amazon. So what I'd like to ask you is tell me a little about Jeff Bezos and what's going on behind the scenes. But this isn't the time for it, but we will talk later on. But seriously, throughout your career, could you, we as orthodontists, we're a pretty small cottage industry. You were in a different league than we were, to say the least. So if you could just kind of maybe give us a couple of pearls or maybe some lessons that you've learned that we could benefit from your experience.
Yeah. It's funny that you raised Jeff. I certainly learned a lot from my time at Amazon, and I'm grateful for the time I spent there. I would actually love to share a Jeff anecdote. It's, nothing too secret or anything, but it is a lesson that has really stuck with me over the years. So, this happened. It was sort of one anecdote. Jeff came to visit our robotics. Robotics was headquartered in the Massachusetts area. Amazon is headquartered in Seattle. Jeff came in to visit us to take a walk around our factory and view all our new products. And after kind of a really long day of sort of showing what we were up to in the robotics division, we all went out to dinner. So just to kind of set the scene, it's the executive leaders of the robotics division, it's Jeff, it's a handful of other people. So it's a fairly small table, maybe 12, 15-ish people. And we sit down and everybody kind of tucks into small chatter, pocket conversation with the people next to them. And Jeff, big personality, sort of holds his hands out and commands the table and says, this isn't a big table. I'd like to have a single threaded conversation tonight. And he sets the table with 2 questions. 1, what is the worst job you've ever had? And 2, what was your most embarrassing moment? And so everybody sort of looks, a little deer in the headlight. And my boss, who I still consider a dear friend, and he leads all of robotics and all fulfillment technology for Amazon globally, really understood the assignment. Somebody had to go first. And so he sort of launched in with a story that was completely hilarious. And, what happens at the table stays at the table. I'm not going to share anybody's stories. However, I will share that each one was funnier and more wholly human than the next, including Jeff's, who actually shared an embarrassing moment, which was quite funny. And what I remember, what hit me so hard as hopefully a lifelong lesson that night, is Jeff really got a glimpse into not only who each of us was as an individual, our true hilarious, embarrassing moment, worst job, kind of fundamental self, but also kind of who we were and how we operated as a team. And he accomplished this so quickly only because he was sort of skillful enough to set up the environment such that we could each feel really comfortable to kind of be our true selves. And so I thought about that story when you mentioned his name, because I think, in that regard about our doctor's offices, it's really clear who the boss is in an orthodontic office. It's really clear who the Bezos is. It's the doctor. But it's also really critical that their entire team under them is successful and are highly engaged and operate really fluidly and really well together so that all the individuals and collectively as a team can be their best. So long story about a small dinner, but when I think about that one anecdote and what it reinforced for me, it's that, as leaders, of course, it's our job to sort of serve our teams. But I do think when you demonstrate your true interest in who your team members are as like individuals, as real humans, not just at work as workers, and then you give them the space to feel both comfortable and safe to be their best true selves, they will be. And then it's sort of like the old Richard Branson quote, right? Like you take care of your employees and they will take care of your customers.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Kelly, yeah, me too. And I think it's particularly pertinent for orthodontists now, where our profession is transforming, and in order to really take advantage of the technologies that are available to us and to thrive, we can't do it alone. And it's a frightening thing for orthodontists, and I'm sure for staff as well, to move through learning some new areas and new ways that we could be treating our patients. But it's critical, and the staff needs to be along. So it's kind of a wake-up call for us in terms of how we choose our staff and who we want on our team. But I really appreciate that perspective.
Yeah, I'd imagine as well. I mean, it's difficult to keep staff. It's difficult to find good staff. It's difficult to keep staff, and the team members that orthodontists are bringing are different to the ones that have been there in the past. And I think that the strategy that you outlined is a good one in terms of engaging people and encouraging them to stay on, because you see them as the humans that they are, and connecting with them, building a relationship. These are all the things that engender customer loyalty, patient loyalty, but what about team loyalty and engagement as well? I mean, it's equally important. So I think that I like it. And it's a great reminder to see the humans that we work with every day.
That's right. And let them have work be a place that they could be their best selves and really thrive. That's what people want.
That's the truth. So aside from the Jeff stories, transitioning from Amazon Robotics to LightForce must have been a significant shift for you. What are there some strategies or innovations or ideas or anything from your time at Amazon that you're integrating into LightForce?
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of things. Technical, process, procedure. I'm so fortunate to have a few team members that I worked with at Amazon here working for customers at LightForce. So yes, across the board. I think one thing that is a real commonality that I found that I did not bring, but I am so grateful for between LightForce and Amazon is this idea of customer obsession. So Amazon has a bunch of leadership principles, and for as long as I shall work, I will remember them and hold them dear and important. And for your listeners, you can just look them up on the internet. There's nothing secret about them. If you Google Amazon leadership principles, in my view, they are the best way to be sort of a leader and a successful worker. But the unique part about how Amazon uses them is they don't just have them and read them and teach them, they live them. It is how they hire and how they evaluate themselves and how they evaluate others and how they choose what to invest in. And they serve as this sort of rubric of shared values, a kind of true guidebook of how to be successful. And so one suggestion I have for your listeners actually is to do that for your own business. Really think about who you are, who you want to be, and what values do you want to sort of share as a team and bring to your customers. And then this part is super critical, but write them down. Like actually crystallize them into writing and then relentlessly live them. Really act on them. They aren't things that we read and write. They're things we do every day. And one of Amazon's is actually a shared kind of core value with LightForce. So LightForce has 3 core values, and the most important is customer obsession. So what does customer obsession mean? Does it mean love your customers? I mean, maybe, but sometimes, but it actually means something more specific, which is focus on your customers. And I think that's one of those things that's like kind of easy to say and easy to think. Of course, don't we all focus on our customers? But I mean, Leon, you have lots of jobs, right? I heard all of the different things you participate in. It's so easy to forget that there's so many things to focus on when we are running businesses. We might have to focus on our shareholders or our boards, our bottom line, our employees, competitors. I mean, you hear all the time people say, well, if the practice down the street is offering X, should we offer X? Or if our competitor is doing Y, should we do Y? But I strongly believe that the best companies actually don't do that. They start with their customers and their customers' needs and problems and challenges and desires, and they work backwards from there. And LightForce 100% does this. And I will say I'm proud I watch our customers do this too. They really, you can hear it in the way they talk about their patients and their patients' families and how they and their teams are working together to support the standard of care or the patient experience. And so every decision goes through the lens of how will this decision impact our customers? And that's how we make decisions here at LightForce. So I think if anything, what I'm bringing is that fundamental belief that the best companies, the best doctors' offices, the best service providers anywhere really become the best and stay the best by relentlessly and singularly obsessing over their customers.
Mm-hmm. I think that is, it aligns. If you could have seen this little 30-minute thing I did at the AAO, it aligns so well with what I was talking about, which is a little bit like, how do you, as marketers, how do you differentiate yourself from the competition? But it doesn't start with the competition. It starts with, what do your patients need? What do they value? What do they want? What is important to them? And it varies from practice to practice, but it starts with understanding your unique group of people who you serve day in and day out, and really positioning the way that you go to market. It starts with the values, but then how you go to market with that, but based on what they actually need, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you do it well. It doesn't matter if the competition is or isn't doing it. If it's not what the patient needs and wants and what's going to resonate with them, it's not going to land. It's not going to be meaningful.
I agree with you completely, Amy. People want to feel seen. They want their needs to be met. And if we start there, it's the right place to start.
So let me take it down a little bit from the big picture into some more bread and butter type of specifics that I know our listeners are interested in. For me, at least, what you do is like the Wizard of Oz, right? There's a curtain, and instead of putting brackets on my patients in real time, I'm manipulating some software, and then I'm pushing a button, and then in my office are these trays that when I bond them in place, create a fully personalized orthodontic appliance to that particular patient's anatomy and issues and problems that I set up just on the software. So tell me what happens in between when I push the button and when the UPS man comes and drops off, the trays.
Sure. At a really high level, we receive the files from your office into our digital team. We turn that digital file into something usable for our orthodontic treatment planners. Our orthodontic treatment planners then digitally manipulate the teeth on screen, turning the teeth from where they are to where they should be for a healthy, beautiful smile. We have a doctor internally look at every single case. So we don't sort of sample or skip, but every single case is looked at and reviewed by a doctor to make sure a few things. One, in their view, is this the right treatment plan? Two, is it in line with the instructions from our customer doctor for this case? And three, is it in line with the instructions from our doctor for generally how they want their cases to be treated? And we send it back to your office for you to review. It is your case. It is your patient. And we want, of course, it to be your kind of decision how you treat that patient. It is your art and science. Then you send it back to us with either modifications, requests, or approval. And then it comes to Wilmington, Massachusetts, where we have our factory.
So, Kelly, looking ahead, we talked about AI a lot in general, like in our lives. At the AAO recently, learned a lot about AI. it's integrated into so much more than we even know right now. And I imagine as probably the weeks go on, I was going to say the months and the years go on, but the weeks go on, how do you see AI and robotics enhancing the capabilities that LightForce has right now?
Yeah, it's a great question, Amy. And I think you're right that we are living in such an interesting time with respect to these technologies that tools like artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, they're on so many people's minds as we collectively sort of watch and participate in them sort of the future of them unfolding right before us across a ton of industries that we use in lots of different ways in our life. So I agree completely with your observation there. I'll say for LightForce, we have an incredible product and engineering team. And they actually innovate on behalf of our customers. Of course, that's true really of any company's product and engineering teams, but also on behalf of our internal teams, our internal operations. So our digital operations where we plan cases, and then our physical factory. And I think that's important to note because that isn't true of every company. So by and large, all the tools and the software in our digital work streams and that manage the sort of maintenance and operation of our factory are developed internally, which has the unique benefit of right from the beginning, right from the inception of those tools, we're not pulling something off a shelf, but we're building them, as we talked about earlier, starting with the needs of our specific customers and their desires and wishes and problems to solve, and we're working from there. So in terms of these kind of forward-looking technologies in operations specifically, as I mentioned, we're really focused on ensuring our customers get high quality products at the right time, every time. And so a lot of the application of these tools is going towards that goal of ours. And there are places where we are or are planning to use machine learning in service of that exact goal. So for example, in treatment planning, we have some machine learning applications in both the operation and the maintenance of our physical factory. So how do the machines run? How do they coordinate with each other? How do we know when it's time to give them some maintenance attention? That type of question. And then from a quality perspective, how do we ensure that each element, each component that we send out is completely free of defects? On the robotics side, a very dear friend and one of my favorite colleagues at Amazon always said, humans should do what humans are really good at, which is essentially make kind of high value judgment, especially in ambiguous situations. And robots should do what robots are really good at, which often is sort of repetitive tasks, high precision, especially when speed serves it. We are not automating. At LightForce, we're not automating for automation's sake. The reality is robots actually are still fairly expensive, and not all tasks are perfectly applied to them. So we will continue to look across our value stream and select the tasks that the cost makes sense to include automation, and it's the right task to automate. And examples of that are the sortation of brackets in our factory, right? So that looks like what we described, that sort of high precision, high repetition, speed serves it, as well as using high resolution images to check the quality of our components before they go out. Again, sort of high precision, high repetition kind of needs. And then in research and development, so not in operations, but actually in our sort of customer facing applications, machine learning is an excellent tool for both experimentation and problem solving, because you can do a lot of predictive modeling more quickly than you can without it. And so one benefit to having an end-to-end digital system as we do is that we have data all throughout on how our product moves through our system. And so we can use feedback and performance data from earlier treatment plans or earlier in the system to feed that into future hardware designs, future treatment planning protocols, and things of the like, so that we can be always ever better and always more responsive to the changing needs of our customers and of their patients.
So, Kelly, if you were to tell me 10 years ago that there was going to be a company like LightForce where, they would be custom printed, there was some kind of magic that would create these customizable tones, I would say you're crazy. But the truth of the matter is, things are moving at a rapid pace. And it's in our interest as clinical orthodontists, of which I am not, but was, to be aware of what's coming and to focus on how we could prepare our practice for the future. So tell me, if I were to put on my future focused glasses, which I've yet to find, but if I could, and I narrowed in on LightForce, what maybe might I be seeing from LightForce over the coming years?
Yeah. Well, the future is very bright. And our mission today is to empower the experts, so your listeners, to create the unique bite and smile that every patient deserves. That is what we're going to do. That is what the future looks like, and how we get there and what the changing needs are and what the technology requires to do it will change over time, and we'll change with it. But providing that personalized, unique care to every patient is exactly what our hope to do is.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, when we talk a lot about what technologies offer the clinicians, right? Like the orthodontists, they have benefits there, but the patient benefits is really what, we're trying to market on behalf of the doctor about the technologies that they employ. And it seems like the patient benefits of efficiency in treatment and comfort in treatment, like those are the outgrowths of that customized approach. And so are those focuses part of the future plan and continually improving that efficiency and that comfort that you're able to provide through LightForce?
Yeah, I think exactly right, Amy. And, Leon, you mentioned Jeff Bezos early. One thing he's famed for saying is, don't focus on the things that are changing. Focus on the things that don't change. And so even if we rewound using your hypothesis to your 10-year ago self, and we asked you, do you think LightForce would exist? I agree with you. You might say, that's crazy. But if we said, do you think patients and families want shorter treatment time? Do you think they want to go to the orthodontist less often? Do you think patients believe their care should be personalized to their body and their needs uniquely? I think you would have said yes 10, 20, 50, 100 years ago. And so, Amy, absolutely. We are focused on those things that don't change. Efficiency in the orthodontic practice. Allowing orthodontists to operate at the top of their license, right? To use their art and science without necessarily having to sort of spend time chairside doing other things. Patient comfort, patient experience, whether that's time of treatment, frequency of treatment, these things probably aren't changing, and they're solutions provided by our offering.
Well, it sounds good, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us today. We learned a lot. It's so nice to meet you. We always love to meet the leadership of the companies that are the most innovative in the industry. So it's really nice of you to come on the show, and we enjoyed talking with you. If we have questions for you from our listeners, or how can people get in touch with you if they have maybe specific questions for you or want to learn more about LightForce?
Sure. Well, Leon and Amy, thank you both so much on behalf of all of LightForce for having me on and giving me a chance to speak today. And I would be happy to speak to any of your listeners. My first name is Kelly, Kelly, Kelly at lightforceortho.com. I'd be happy to hear from them.
That's great. And, we have a LightForce page on our website, actually, that if listeners want to go to pplpractice.com and go to the partners page, there's a LightForce page there, and you can fill out a form and learn more about LightForce that way as well. So if you enjoyed our episode today and hearing Kelly talk, please be sure to tell a colleague, visit our website to learn more. Kelly, thank you again for being with us today. We enjoyed it, and we will definitely invite you back if you're open to it.
Thanks,
I look forward to it. Thank you both. I appreciate it.
You can subscribe or download other episodes of the Golden Age of Orthodontics on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and if you want to see us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you enjoyed it, like I said, we really do appreciate you telling a colleague. You can learn more about People in Practice, who helps orthodontists reach their patients with the right messages about the technology like LightForce that they employ in their office. You can learn more about our practice at pplpractice.com.
Thanks again for watching and listening. As always, Amy and I really appreciate the support that you give us. If you'd like to reach me, it's leon@pplpractice.com. I know that can be unsettling to think about new technologies and different ways of doing things, but remember, you're not alone and that we will go through this together. And remember, for forward-thinking orthodontists, it has never been a better time to be an orthodontist. We are in the golden age. Take advantage of it. So long for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Golden Age of Orthodontics. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or visit our website at thegoldenageoforthodontics.com for direct links to both the audio and video versions of this episode.